Hey, what up, family? This is Ty from No Picks Podcast.
This is Joe, No Picks Podcast.
All right, so today we have an interesting topic. All right, this is gonna be like this is gonna be a hot button kind of issue, right? So, Joe, I have a question for you.
Okay.
All right. So, my question is, can minorities, let's say, can minorities be racist?
Ooh. All right. So I'm gonna. So clearly, if my answer is not just yes off bat, it's a complicated response. But I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say that there's a difference between the textbook definition of racism and then now that we have like the field of critical race theory and all the stuff that's happened in that
Right.
field, that definition of racism, right? So the textbook by the textbook definition, I agree with that. Racism is when you're expressing prejudice, any bigotry, any hatred towards somebody because of their skin color. Anybody
Right.
can do that. Right? For me, I think that black, brown people, minorities, I think that we can be prejudiced. We can be
Right.
bigoted. We can express those prejudices. We can hate somebody for their skin color. But I think that it doesn't make them racist. And I say that because, on the other hand, you have this definition of racism that's linked to power.
Right.
There's a field where they're just like, listen, racism and power go hand in hand. So, like, if you are a racist, you are backed by racist systems, a racist structure, a power, a system, a structure that gives you power, that you can oppress or suppress, or gain advantages to the detriment of other people. Like, there's power behind racism.
Hang on. Let me read the definition of racism.
All right.
So, characterized by showing prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism against a person or people on the basis of their membership in a particular racial or ethnic group.
And well, see, so here's the problem, right? And this is why some people were like that definition is too simple. It leaves out too much to this conversation about racism, right?
What would you add? What would you add then?
I would add that the notion of power. So I'll ask you, Ty, in what way? Let's say if we're talking about white and black, right? That seems the common contrast: white people, black people. In what way does black racism systemically affect a white people?
I don't think it can. Okay. So not white people, I'll say, right? So when I think of racism, right? I'm from the hood. You from the hood, right? Systemically affect white people. I don't think it can systemically affect white people, right? But I do think it can systemically affect another group of people. I'm thinking of the Asian community.
Okay, what you mean?
Like I said, you and I are from the same place, right? How many times have you gone into a Chinese store, right? And somebody in there talking to them, messing with them, they being like real like ching ching chong chong chong, like trying to like talking to them crazy or whatever. Like that's fucked up. And I growing up, I saw that shit to the point where it was just normal.
Right.
It was like literally normalized. And I
right.
The problem and the issue I always saw in that, like even as a kid, I'm like, yo, that's wrong, right? But the people doing it don't see it as wrong.
Right.
But if those same Asian people say the N-word, then those black people will be like, what? What you mean? Whatever. But and it's like I think us as a group of people, us as black people, we see racism when it's done to us, but we're colorblind to racism when we do it to other people.
Okay. All right. So I agree with you, right? I agree. But also remember that I prefer the critical race definition of racism, which is tied to power, right? But for the textbook definition that you read off, I agree with you. I agree that it's wrong. I've seen this too. I'm in the same hoods, bro. Get the chicken wings fried hard. You know what I mean? Shrimp fried rice, whatever you get. But I've seen people attack them, call them China. When COVID first hit, they were calling it the Chinese virus, the Wuhan virus. People were like, there was the increase in hate crimes against it, but I've seen black folk in these hoods talking to them that way, right?
Yeah.
So this is all right. So now let's take it a step further, right? So I agree with you. I'm already telling you that is wrong. I condemn it. I see that too. But
before we go forward, do you also acknowledge that the people doing it truly don't see it as racism? They don't see it as a bad thing.
I think they're just ignorant. You know what I mean? We talking about people who are.
But they're not ignorant when it comes. If those same Asian people say, you know what, you N-word,
that they would go. They would go out of pocket.
Automatically become
okay. So and I agree with you. And I agree. I agree that I feel like the Chinese people are, they're not gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna get behind the screen. But a black person might be like, yo, step out right now. Maybe break the glass, tell everybody that they racist. I agree that there's this weird hypocritical double standard when it comes to like
Okay, cool.
some.
So you and I see it. This is kind of the same
So
way.
I, no, I agree with that, but this is what I'm saying. But this is what we got to take it a step further, though, because once again, remember when I asked you how does a black person's racism systemically affect white people, and then we kind of deviated to this, which I agree with you. But here's my thing: even if I'm that black person being racist to that Chinese person, right? They still own a business in my hood that circulates black dollars. Okay, so they take money from our black hoods and put it into their pockets and feed their families with that, and they have their businesses there. You know what I'm saying? So even though we're being racist towards them, they're still getting our money. They're still in our community taking the black dollars. They still have business there, bro. Where they're still getting business from everyone else there. So it's like, yeah, you can call me a chink. You can call me, you tell me I got COVID. I eat bats. You can say I eat dogs. It better not be. You can say something like that, but I'm still paying you for my chicken fried rice.
Let me fight. Let me dispute that. Right. All right. So you remember a couple years ago when I forget where LeBron, I think he was living in Miami, and that's when he was with the Miami Heat. And some assumingly white person, right, wrote. Actually, we don't even know if it's a white person. It could have been anybody, but a group of people that weren't black wrote spray painted the N word on his property. You remember that made the news, right?
Right.
So could you make this so people, it was still racist when it happened to LeBron, even
Right.
though LeBron is up there, he's a
Right.
billionaire now, right? It was like just it was, hey, you know what, just because you have the resources don't mean that it wasn't racist towards you. So I would make the same argument with the Asian community. Just because they have the resources and they have these businesses or whatever, don't mean that they don't feel that they don't, it's not prejudice against them. Yeah, okay, you're giving them your money, but you're still talking crazy to them.
I mean, I agree, bro. I'm just trying to connect it to the power. I agree with you, right? I agree with you. Once again, I gotta ask this question again then, just because this is the point that I'm trying to make drive home. So I'm gonna ask the question again and see if you can like. The question is, how does black racism systemically affect any other race? Like any other, we can keep it to white, even we can bring it to Asian, but like I think white and black is gonna be a better example. Like, how does black racism systemically affect white people?
I would
How?
argue. Okay, so I would argue that black racism doesn't systemically affect white people, right?
Okay.
But I would also argue that the vast majority of white people don't have any goddamn power. I think the power is concentrated amongst a very select group of white people. So just take black people out of the equation.
Okay.
My opinion is that, well, not even really my opinion. If you have 100 white people, white dudes in a room, maybe one of them dudes may be calling the shots and running shit. The other dudes ain't running shit. What power does the white dude got at fucking Pet Boys? He ain't got no fucking power. He can't make no policy. He can't do shit. So it's like there's a select group of people who run shit in this country, and you can be like, yo, you know what? Y'all make these policies and all that shit. But the rest of the white people ain't they don't run shit. The dude, most of them dudes vote for the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Most of the white people vote for Republican Party. You ever see them white people in the South that be like with no teeth talking about some, oh, we don't want no goddamn Obamacare in here, blah blah blah. And these motherfuckers got the Affordable Health Care Act insurance, and they don't even realize that it's the same thing.
They're also the biggest
They don't got
constituents
no
for.
power.
They're
That,
the
like,
biggest welfare recipients too, which is
yeah, right.
interesting.
But my point is, the white dude working at Pet Boys making $35,000 a year doesn't have any goddamn power.
So you're conflating two issues, though, right? I agree with you. I completely agree with you. You're right that there's an elite group of people who are calling the shots, making the ridiculous amount of money on the backs of
A
their
really really
workers.
tiny group. A really really tiny group.
I agree. I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. But I do agree that the biggest issue is not race; it's class. But see,
I
my
agree.
thing.
That's
But
fine.
the thing is, if you try to completely forget about the race part or not take it into account, what you won't see is that the people who are at the top, it's divide and conquer, right? So how do you control a population? You got to divide them. And how did they do that? Throughout history, how did they do that in America? They gave white people privileges. They let white people run over plantations. They were the slave masters. Before we had police, they were called it was like the slave force. They were literally people. That's where the cops came from. The history, the legacy of police officers, that's where it started. It were people who would ride on horses to go and try to catch the slaves who would escape. That's the history of the police force. It started as the slave patrols. So like white people were given, access to land grants, to home, to land, freedom. They were humanized. They weren't dehumanized. So they had all of that in place. But they did that to create this deeply rooted hatred in some white people towards black people, to fool them and convince them that they were better in some way because God was white, the angels were white, all white people have money, all white people are clean. They painted these narratives, and they basically made it so that some white people, even if you're not racist, it affects your subconsciousness. But it created this. I think that they use race to divide people so that we don't unite to fight against the people who are in power. You see what I'm saying?
I,
Like
I,
that's how
I can understand that.
I really do feel that way. Like,
But my thing is, my thing is this. So when we talk about institutional racism, it's like, okay, well, all the white people have set up this system to where it disadvantages all the black people. And I would argue a very, very small, select group of white people set up the rules to where it benefits a very select group of white people. And all the other people, whether white, Chinese, black, are all on the lower end of the spectrum. I would argue that,
but okay,
like I said, I don't.
but
Like I said,
that's now though. So you're I agree with you, right? But at what's the cutoff though? Because remember, before 1965, that's when the Civil Rights Act was signed into law. That's when finally people had more rights. That was like the almost like, I guess, the end of the Jim Crow era, right? That's 1965. So are you starting from there? Because before that, we ain't have all that. Before that, there was Jim Crow. Before that, there was slavery. Before that, our people were in a very different situation. So from 1965, even though racism didn't disappear overnight,
right,
that's when we finally had more access to opportunities, where we had more freedom, right?
right.
So what you're saying for me is that the reference point? Are you starting from there?
Yeah,
Because before that, life was very
yeah.
different, right?
I think that's
So
fair. I think we
so
can
we
take it
can
there.
only say that started like maybe like around the 1960s, where we
Yeah,
actually had a little more freedom and
right.
privileges, and we could do all that. And even then, at that point, see, and this is the thing, Tyrese, uh, like when it's crazy. I gotta ask this question again, and you've already answered it, but this is the thing. Like when a white person accuses a black person of being racist, that's when I'm just like, okay, well, what power do I have with my racism? I might be able to beat your ass right now, but that ain't got nothing to do with my racist views. That just means that I'm a better fighter than you. You know what I mean? That just means that you might just be pussy, and I'm gonna beat your ass. But like, how does my racism, if you're white and I'm black, how does my racism affect your quality of life? You might get that ass whooping, but I might fuck around and get arrested. I might get my ass beat. I might get Rodney
Well,
King. I
if I'm
might,
white
you
and
know
you
what I mean?
black, you
Like,
whoop my ass, you should get your. If I'm white and you black, you whoop my ass, you should get arrested. You 1,000,000,000% should be
if
arrested.
we're, well, I mean, yes, if it's self defense,
If I'm
then
just
yeah.
sitting here and I'm just white, just you whoop my ass just because I'm white, like yes, you should go to
But
jail.
I know, well, yes, I agree with you. But my point still stands. At the end of the day, we both go home, and I have to ask, when if a black person was, if, like I said, it's about power, bro. Like, so for like, yes, I do agree that minorities can be prejudiced or can be bigoted, but as far as like the term racist, like I said, our racism, there's no power behind it.
I
There's no
think at a
power
certain point,
behind it.
I think at a certain point, you're right. From from from
There's no power.
from up until a certain point, you're right. But I think today, as we speak today, like I said, the white dude at Pet Boys, the white dude working at ShopRite, the white dude working at Foot Locker has no fucking power. He doesn't have any more power than the
I
black dude
agree.
working in the
I
same
agree.
zones, right? So I'm talking about the reference point for today. So if we're just talking about like morally, yo, listen, a black person can be racist just like a white person can. But if you add in power the power dynamic again, then it changes. But if you talking about a white motherfucker that ain't got no power and a black motherfucker ain't got no power, we can be equally racist.
But you do know there are still poor people who, no matter what, would say. Chris Brown has this stand up, and he made a joke where he was like, "Listen, there isn't a white person in the crowd who would want to trade places with me right now, and I'm rich." Just making it seem like, or when you have these, like, there's a phrase that said like people want to be black but don't want to be black. You know what I mean? You want to take the hip hop, you want to take the culture, you want to take the swag, you want to take the drip, you want to take the R&B, you want our rhythm, but you don't want our blues. You want to take all these aspects of our culture, but you don't want to be black. You know what I'm saying? People want to be black, but they don't want to be black. So it's like being white, even if you don't think it, even if it's not conscious, it's something subconscious. It's been decades of conditioning that hasn't
I
just
do.
gone away.
I would agree that it's subconscious. But listen, when I see a white person, if I see a white person that makes 80 grand, I don't think he's fucking above me or she's above
Yeah,
me. I
but
just
you don't. But there's a farmer down in fucking Kansas who ain't making shit, who still thinks that you're a Nigger and that he's better than you because of that, and
and
he's
that's cool.
poor.
Listen,
You know what
I
I'm
don't
saying?
listen.
He'd rather be white and poor than be a nagger. I don't want to say the word.
First of all, I will rather be black than poor than be anything else because I'm proud to be who I am.
You sure about
However,
that?
I mean, listen, I don't know what it's like to. I would never advocate for being another group of people because, listen, I
I
am who I
know.
am, and
I
I'm
wouldn't
proud
want to
to be
switch
who I am.
either. Yeah, I wouldn't want
So
to switch either.
I can't.
But we also don't hate white people.
No,
You see what I'm saying? Like we also like for me, that's what I mean. Like, so let me ask this question then, Tyrese. Overall, let's just speak for the black community, right? Overall, do you feel like there is this this hatred for white people within our culture?
listen.
And be honest. If you really
All right,
feel that
let
way,
me
say
say.
it.
I think. Listen, I wouldn't call it hatred. What I would say is, I think that the people that are unsuccessful in our community blame white people for them being unsuccessful. I think the people that are successful in our community don't blame white people. I
Right.
think that's what I think that's what I think the difference is, right? And but if no, let me differentiate between two. They blame white men. White women, bro. If a white when white women move into the hood, black dudes lose their fucking mind trying to bag them.
They
They
they get
go,
caked up lately,
bro.
bro. I don't know what
They
they
go
eating.
crazy, bro. Like
I don't know what the heck.
I went to a majority white school, right?
Yeah.
I went to LaSalle University in Philly, right? It was at the time it was I don't know what it is now, but it was a majority white school at the time. I'm in there, whatever. I'm used to seeing right. I was just seeing white chicks from high school, but so them pretty white chicks in college ain't bother me at all, right? But when I would bring friends and relatives over to school to like school parties and stuff like that, bro, they would lose their fucking minds. They'd be like, "Oh my god, look at that white girl! Look at that white girl! Look at that white girl!" I'm like, bro, she's average as fuck, but she was just white. So they would kind of lose their minds. And in addition, when I came back from a Christmas break one time, a white chick moved onto our block, right in Germantown, and dudes in the block was like fist fighting for this chick, and she was average as what did Kevin Samuel say? She was average at best, my guy. Like I remember coming back home. I remember looking at it like I remember hearing about it like, oh, everybody fighting over. I'm thinking she gonna be this like Margot Robbie looking type white chick. I'm like, god damn, or Angelina Jolie type white chick. I'm like, she gonna be fucking tough. I come over, she looked like the chick from Hustle and Flow on drugs. I'm sitting there, I'm
Oh,
looking.
shorty.
She looked. I'm sitting there, I'm looking at them. I'm like, she's like a below average white chick that other white dudes wouldn't even talk to. But
Yeah.
y'all going crazy for her because like she's white.
Yeah.
It was very strange. So I listen. I wouldn't say that black people overall have a disdain for white people. I say black people who want to make excuses to why they're not where they feel like they should be in life need white people to blame.
Okay, that I can agree with you on. Because I do agree that as individuals we do have agency. I feel like you have whatever cards you're dealt in life, you have to play them to your best advantage. And I think
Right.
that clinging on to racism and the white man and all that stuff, and saying that that's the reason why you're not succeeding, that does frustrate me because it makes it seem like we have no power, and I think
Right.
that's bullshit. We do
It
have
gives you a
power.
permanent out. It gives you like
Right.
no matter what you could stay in your grandma and your mom and your grandma basement for your whole life.
Yeah.
And guess what? You never really had a shot because guess what?
Right.
Guess who stopped you from having a shot?
Yeah.
So then they could
Well.
just throw their
Yeah.
hands up and be like, okay, well, listen,
Yeah.
it ain't my fault that you know what I mean. I got all these PPP loans and I'm living in the basement and I'm subscribed to OnlyFans and I'm jerking it twice a day.
Right.
Like it ain't my fault. Guess whose fault it is? It's the white man's fault. It ain't the white woman's fault because if the white woman move on my block, I'm gonna move heaven and earth. I'm gonna take out whoever I need to take out to wipe her up, even if she's average as fuck.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I at the current time, see, as I've gotten older, I was definitely more radical in college.
Right,
Probably no surprise, right? You go to college and you
right,
go
right,
there with, as and you get radicalized in college. I became way more liberal. I was out in
right,
Cali, And there were so many things that I was so fired up and supercharged about. And now as I've
Mhm.
gotten older, I realize I don't want to talk about race as much anymore because I'm just tired of like making it seem like I'm blaming all of my issues
Right.
on white people when it's like,
I
no,
agree.
we
I
do
agree.
have, you know what I mean? Especially when we can agree that these elites are controlling us by
I think it's,
dividing
it's a
us.
small group. It's a small group of motherfuckers that run shit.
But they
And
use race, bro. That's what I'm saying. They use race to divide us because you and I can both agree. Listen, we should all be treated equally. We
right,
all are. No one is superior than the other because of our race or
right,
ethnicity. There might be things that we excel in. Who knows? I don't know,
right.
genetically or something like that. But like, we're all equal. We all have the same fucking DNA.
Yeah,
There's no difference genetically between us
right.
all. You know what I mean? Our DNA is almost it's probably identical, bro. You know what I mean? So as human beings, we're the same. We just have some of us just have more melanin than others. But throughout time and history, race was used to divide us. And because that race was used as an instrument to divide us, to polarize people, you got to understand people were awarded privileges. People were awarded benefits. People were also told that they were superior. And then for a long time, they believed it, bro. That type of thinking is all I'm saying. All that conditioning for centuries doesn't go away. That doesn't go away
I would
overnight.
argue that a billionaire white dude would befriend a millionaire or billionaire black dude before he would a fucking farmer in Idaho somewhere.
I
That's
agree.
also white that shares his skin. I believe he would be best friends with a black dude or an Asian dude or an Indian dude before he would his fellow white dude because this white dude makes $40,000 a year and this motherfucker's a
Right.
billionaire. He's
Well,
he not trying to talk
I
to that
think,
white dude.
but I think that's the power structure because I also believe that I have more in common with a poor white man than I do with a rich black man. You see what I'm saying? I personally feel like I have way more in common with a poor white man than I do with a rich black man because he's
I could
probably going
agree
to
with
be in
that.
the
I could
Republican
agree with
Party. He's
that. Yeah,
probably going to be conservative. You know what I'm
right.
saying? He's probably going to be more conservative in his. For my when I think of a black man in that privilege in that position of power, which aren't many, and it's not because black people are inferior or white people are better at making money. Fuck no. And if you think that, you're racist. It's not the reason at all. But the black people that are up there, I know that they would probably, I know without a doubt, most of them would probably be Republican, voting for all the tax breaks.
Yeah,
You
hell
know,
yeah.
they,
Because it
they'll,
benefits you. It
you know what I'm
benefits
saying?
you. Right.
That's what they would be like. So
Yeah,
I think the issue more is of class, bro. I don't
I
have a
agree.
lot in common with these wealthy black folk. I don't think the way that they do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I don't move like them. It's a class mentality. You know, so I'm with you, bro. I think that's where people get confused at when we say, "Can minorities be racist?" Though, because it's like, yeah, sure, you can say I'm going to be racist, but once again, I have to ask if I know already, I'm going to be like, but how does my racism affect you systemically, bro? Like I said, how? Remember, your race used your whiteness, your race to enslave us, to make God in your image and make us believe that God was white, to influence the way that we, you know what I'm saying? This is how
right.
your race was used. On
But I want to say like okay, so that's true, right?
You know what I'm
My
saying?
thing
Like
is
that you use
morally,
when did black folk
morally,
do that? When did
morally,
we do that? When did Asians do that?
that's
When
true. That's true.
you know,
But
but that's what I'm
morally,
saying.
it's wrong.
This white race,
Morally, it's wrong though. So look, I don't like dismissing it to being like okay, well, we can't control policy like you guys can because like I said, Joe at Pet Boys can't control policy either. But my thing is, we're not like we don't have the privilege of having a moral high ground. We can't be like, okay, well, listen, I can call you a cracker because you know what, your people enslave my people. That's still
I
fuck.
agree.
It's morally wrong.
I
It's
I
not
agree.
cool. It's
I
wrong.
agree with you.
So
I agree with you. I agree with you. But I think it would be ignorant to say that my racism as a black or brown person, well, if you want to call it racism, like I said, I can be prejudiced, I can be bigoted. But race for me, that's when I feel like that's that extra step where it's like, where's the power? You can
how about
call me
this?
racist,
How about
but
you
where's the
offended me?
power?
How about we offend that other group of people if we want to say
But
it.
that's
If I
feelings, bro. That's feelings.
niggas getting their feelings all the time.
I know, and they
That's,
soft and they're emotional. But sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt
no,
me, bro.
words matter today. Words matter today. Motherfuckers be crying. Motherfuckers be like, oh, oh,
Yeah, but I don't know what to
it's
say,
toxic
bro.
this, toxic that. Words matter, bro. Like particularly,
I
like,
agree. I agree, bro. But
I mean,
like
words
I'm
don't matter
also
to me, but but
that's what I'm saying.
words
You're talking to
matter.
somebody where it doesn't. So that's why I'm just like, bro, I hear you, but I don't give a fuck about what a nigga got to say about me. Like, I just don't. Like, you can kiss my ass, you can ride with me. I don't give a fuck. I'm still gonna live my life and be me and do me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but because I offended some white person, fuck out of here, nigga. You got a history of
How about when we offend Asian people? Does that bother you?
It does. And I think that all the hate crimes that happen with in the Asian community after COVID or during COVID, I think that that attack that happened a few couple years ago that finally signed the Asian hate crime bill into law. It was literally Biden signed it into law, because of that mass shooting that targeted the Asian community. I forget which state it was in, but that happened too. Like, I hate when that happens,
Like
bro.
it shouldn't be a scapegoat for black people to be like, well, listen, I can call you chicken chicken chong chong, or I could be like, hey, you
I
know what, listen,
agree. It's
cracker,
ignorant.
yeah,
I agree.
because your
It's
people
ignorant.
enslaved my people. Like that's not like
I,
it's
I,
still
I,
wrong.
I, I,
It's wrong.
I I agree, but like I said, we can make a comment, we can make a joke. I can call you a cracker. I can call you a white honky. I can say you probably slept with your cousin and bred with your cousin. I can say all those things, but at the end of the day, there's no fucking power behind that. It's just fucking words. There's no system backing me up. It's just me saying some hateful shit to you. And if you have a tough character, that shit will just bounce right off you, and you'll go on to live in your
Most
life,
people don't have tough character today, including us. Because
bruh.
call us a nigger and we crying. We going to the news.
Well, I hate
We gonna
that,
pull out
bro.
our phones.
I hate it.
Nigga.
I think
We
it's the
gonna
stupidest thing.
cry and all that
I
shit.
think it's dumb. I think it's stupid. I also think it's stupid that we use the word nigga and then we get mad when other races who consume our music and watch our movies and want to see that can't say it. I'm like, that for me it's hypocritical, bro. I've never agreed with that either. It's like, fuck it, everybody should be able to use it.
Right,
Everybody. Everybody. At this point, everybody should be able to use it. We're rapping about it. The white people who go to the Travis Scott concerts, they're saying all the niggas, they're
right.
hard G's, hard GGAs, like
Yeah,
ERs. You know what I mean? Like, they out there saying that shit in the crowd. We're rapping it to them. They're consuming it. So
right.
I think that's listen, bro. We could talk about this for a while.
We
I
should
think
end this
we've been
up.
going in, but I appreciate your perspective. I appreciate it. And the thing is, I agree with most of what you said, though.
Yeah,
It's just like that one little disconnect, which is why some people find this conversation so controversial. Because some people will tell you, no, minorities cannot be racist, and to some extent, they could be right. It just depends on if are you using the textbook definition or the critical race definition. Then that conversation changes from there. So that's where the confusion kind of thing
right.
comes in. But we can be bigoted and prejudiced. Listen, we can. We definitely can.
Yeah. But okay, we also gotta acknowledge that we don't see it as that though. Like if when a black person calls a white person a cracker or goes into a Chinese store and be like chinga chinga chong chong, we don't see it as prejudice or racist or any of that shit. We just like, well, we just saying words.
Well,
We
black
don't
folks.
see it as a bad thing.
Well, remember, black people. Some black folk can also be very racist towards like Mexicans. They take our jobs. These fucking Mexicans. They doing
Now
this. They doing that.
that's an everybody thing. White people say that shit too.
But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
that shit. They
But
want
no,
fucking
I'm not.
wetback.
Listen, I'm not. Listen. I am not trying to alleviate the black person from going into an Asian store. Cause listen, I've never
I
seen a
love
black
Chinese
person
food.
go into an Asian store and say chicka chicka chong chong. I never seen it, bro. Never
Yeah,
seen it. And I went to a white school with an Asian store down the street
yeah.
in on Alany at LaSalle. Never seen a white person do it. Guess who I saw do it? A bunch of black people that went to LaSalle. Chicka chicka chong chong chong. That shit is not cool, bro. So I'm not trying to
I agree. It's not.
make some
It's not.
equivalency. No.
I
It's
agree.
wrong. It's
It's
absolutely
wrong.
wrong.
I agree.
But my
I
problem
agree.
is we don't see it as wrong. We see it as like, well, it's kind of the game. But let that same Asian person be like, yeah, here's this shrimp fried rice, nigga. We'd be like, oh shit, what you mean, nigga?
I
Now we
know.
moral again. Now we fucking give a fuck. Now we're like, oh, okay, cool. How dare you offend me and my ancestors? Okay, this motherfucker got ancestors too. His ancestors talk like how you think he talk, chinga chinga chong chong. But you don't give a fuck about his ancestors.
Yeah, I agree with you, bro. I agree. So listen, let's open it up to the audience. It's a layered conversation. Let us know what you think. Do you guys think that minorities can be racist? Have you had this conversation before with other people? Like, what are your frustrations? Let us know what you think, y'all. It's a layered conversation, but it's one that we should continue to have. Does racism still exist? If you guys want to chime in on that too, let us know what you think. And of course, Ty, hit him with the like.
Like, comment, subscribe, have a conversation about it. I mean, this is a pretty legit conversation. This conversation
Yeah,
runs deep for real. Like for a lot of people, right?
it
I mean,
does.
maybe not black people, but a lot of other people it runs deep for because listen,
Right.
that shit ain't racist to us. So.
Mm. Well, y'all be safe out there, man, and don't be racist.